It's probably the most hyped fight ever in UK professional boxing. I'm referring to Chris Eubank Jr. versus Connor Benn at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London tonight. And it's been surrounded by drama, by anger, by histrionics, all the kind of stuff. Personally, I don't like to see in boxing, but there we are. That is boxing in 2025. Now, what we've got are two very different characters and two very different boxers. Chris Eubank Jr., much taller, longer reach, the better boxer of the two. And then you've got Connor Benn as a more explosive, dynamic, aggressive fighter. 3 inches shorter than his opponent and with a shorter reach. And that sometimes counts a great deal. However, things have evolved in a bad way as far as I'm concerned in terms of Eubank, because he's had this massive weight loss to contend with to get down to the 160 pounds mark. And of course, as we all know now, he failed a couple of weigh-ins and he's been fined £375,000 as a result of that, on top of which he was fined £100,000 for smashing an egg into the face of Ben at one of the press conferences. So if you add the £50,000 that he promised, and it was a great gesture to give to boxers on the undercard tonight, he's down by about £500,000. But there you are. That's the difference in personalities. I think we've recognised that Ben is a more angry, fearsome fighter. And of course, all this bad blood goes back to the days when their two fathers fought brutal contests against each other in the 1990s. And since then, and since the advent of the rules which have been put in place to make sure that Eubank Jr. makes the weight, Eubank Sr. has virtually disowned his son. He said he doesn't want anything to do with him because he feels he's stepping into a dangerous environment by doing that. So if you take the problem which might have faced Ben before all this, in terms of the weight loss, I think he was facing a guy who would have been too smart for him. I think Eubank is the kind of fighter who has the ability to slow the tempo. In fact, when he wants, he could be a spoiler, and that could frustrate his opponent. And it certainly would have frustrated the more angry, the more aggressive Connor Benn. Now, however, I flipped from being a supporter of Eubank in terms of who's going to win to looking at Ben, because he's going to see, he obviously is coming up from welterweight, and he's had no weight problems to reach. He has no limits, if you like. And by the time he goes into the fight, he will be a much stronger, more physical boxer than Eubank Jr. For that reason, I've gone from thinking about Eubank as winning on points to now thinking of Ben's aggression, his power, his dynamic punching, because he is a great puncher, to winning through. The only thing he will have to watch is that he doesn't allow his temperament and his anger to take hold of him during the contest. He's got to be a cool customer and bide his time. And when he gets the chance, when he's in close, rather like Canelo has to do when he's facing bigger opponents, he's got to take these opportunities and make them count. It's going to be a very interesting contest. I mean, it's been very unsavoury in the building and in the build-up to it, I think. But here we are. It's a big one. It's going to have 65 to 70,000 people there. The atmosphere will be electric. And I hope that the fight lives up to all the pre-fight build-up. I just hope it does, and that we see something really spectacular tonight. For me, it's got to be Connor Benn coming out on top.